Welcome to Parkview Elementary's Flipped Classroom. Today we're going to talk about equivalent ratios, Part 2. Here is your objective. You will learn how to express the ratio in simplest forms by dividing the terms of the ratio by their greatest common factor. While you're going through the lesson, fill out your guided practice sheet to bring to class tomorrow. Let's think back. In the first part of equivalent ratios, you learned how to increase the ratio by using multiplication. Let's increase this ratio 3 to 4. And we did that by learning how to choose any whole number and multiply the terms by that same number. So I'm going to multiply my first term, 3, by 2. And I can get 6. And I will multiply 2 by my second term, 4, and get 8. So I have a new ratio that is equivalent 6 to 8. Now I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to use the whole number 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. I have another equivalent ratio, 9 to 12. Now let's look at 7/8. Let's increase that one. Let's choose the whole number 2 again. 7 times 2 is 14. 8 times 2 is 16. Our new equivalent ratio is 14 to 16. And then I'll do the same thing again with the whole number 3. 7 times 3 is 21. 8 times 3 is 24. My new ratio is 21 to 24. You can also learn how to simplify ratios using the greatest common factor. Let's look at 12/64. 12 to 64. Let's list all the factors. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Now let's try 64. 1 times 64, 2 times 32. Let's see, we cannot multiply 3 to get to 64, but I can multiply 4. 4 would be, 16. So I see that 4 is the greatest common factor. So let's try. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 64 divided by 4 is 16. So my simplify ratio is 3 to 16. Let's learn. You're getting ready to cook a dinner and you want to make tomato rice soup. The soup calls for 18 cups of rice and 54 cups of tomatoes. You realize this is way too much and you want this recipe but want less soup. You find the ratio of the rice to tomatoes, which is 18 to 54. Now you can use division to decrease the ratio to find an equivalent ratio. So how do we do that? The first thing is to find common factors of 18 and 54. So let's find those common factors. We have 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, and that is all the factors of 18. Now let's do the factors of 54. 54 times 1, 2 times 27. 3 times 18. 4 would not be a factor. 5 wouldn't be a factor. But 6 times 9 is 54. So we have all those common factors of 2, 9, 3, and 6. They are common factors. So the common factors of 18 to 54 are common factors of 18 and 54 are 2, 3, 6, and 9. Now let's divide the terms by the common factor. We have 18 and we have 54. So let's divide it by 2 first, and we'll have 9. 2 divided by 54 is 27. Oh, that's still too much, so let's try the common factor of 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And 27 divided by 3 is 9. So now I have a ratio of 3 to 9. It's getting smaller, but it's still too large. That would be still too much soup. I don't have 9 cups of tomatoes. So let's try it again. 3, common factor of 3 and 9 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So our equivalent ratios are 9 to 27, 3 to 9, and 1 to 3. Now you can make a small batch of soup. Here's the guided practice. Use division to find all the whole number ratios that are equivalent to 18 to 36, 20 to 40, 24 to 96. Find the common factors and find all the equivalent ratios. Pause the video. Let's learn. Let's find the missing term of a pair of equivalent ratios. Here are 3 terms. We have 4 to 5 equals 12 to blank. We want to find what it is. Well, we can do 2 things. First, we can multiply. We can multiply the first term to see what we can do to get the second term. So let's see. 4 times what will equal 12? Well, it's 4 times 3. So let's multiply the second term. 5 times 3 is 15. So I have an equivalent ratio of 12 to 15. Let's try a second one. Or, if it is decreasing, we will divide. Here we see it decreasing. 42 to 54 equals 7 to blank. Since it's decreasing, I will divide. 42 divided by 7 is 6. 54 divided by 6 is 9. So I took my first term, divided it by the second term, or the first term in the second fraction, or what I did was I took my first term of 42 and the first term of the second ratio and I divided them. found a common factor, and then I divided it, the second term, 54, by 6, to get the second term of the equivalent. Here's some common mistakes. When finding a missing term in a pair of equivalent ratios, you might have difficulty deciding whether to divide a common factor or multiply by a common factor. Hint, look at the ratio where the term is missing. If a term is greater than the corresponding term in the other ratio, then multiply to find the missing term. 7 to 9 equals 49 to blank. It is greater than the first term, so we're going to multiply. If a term in that ratio is less than the corresponding term, then divide to find the missing term. 40 to 48 equals blank to 8. We see that it is decreasing. So 48 divided by 8 is 6. So 30 divided by my new ratio is 5 to 8. This one is getting larger. 7 times what will equal 49? It is 7. So 9 times 7 is 63. Here's the guided practice for you. Stop the video and complete. Now let's learn about ratio tables. Students in a school musical are going to sell tickets. Each student is expected to sell 3 youth tickets and 5 adult tickets. The students use a table to predict how many tickets will be sold. The question is, how many tickets will be sold if 50 students sell tickets? Here's our table. We have listed the number of students, the number of youth tickets, and the number of adult tickets. We see that for every 1 student, just as it said, each student is expected to sell 3 tickets, youth tickets, and 5 adult tickets. So the question is, how many tickets will be sold if 50 students sell tickets? Right now, we only have up to 4. Notice that the number of ratio of youth tickets to the number of adult tickets is the same for all the rows in the table. All the ratios can be written in simplest forms. If you notice, they are increasing, but they're still equivalent because if we wrote them in simplest form, they will all come back to 3 to 5. I multiplied 3 by the 2 and got 6. Multiplied 5 by 2 and got 10. Now let's use the same table. You can still use the ratio to find how many tickets will be sold if more students sell tickets. We see that it increased. We increased each time. In the first one, here is our ratio, 3 to 5. In the second row, the number of students is 2, so we multiplied the first row by 2. Then we multiplied the third row by 3. Then we multiplied the next row by 4. Here we jumped to 10 and we multiplied 10 times 3 and we got 30. 10 times 5 and got 50. Now we can do 50 times 3 is 150, and 50 times 5 is 200. Let's do the next one. A student council is selling bouquets of daisies and tulips. The ratio of the number of daisies to the number of tulips is the same for all bouquets. you can use the ratio to find out the missing table information. Here we have number of bouquets. We have number of daisies and the number of tulips. If we look at 2 bouquets, we have 24 daisies and 12 tulips. So the ratio for 2 bouquets is 24 to 12. To first find the number of daisies and tulips in 1 bouquet. When there are 2, the ratio of the number of daisies to the number of tulips is 24 to 12 equals 2 to 1. How we did that was we divided. In 2 bouquets, there are twice as many of each type of flower as in 1 bouquet. So divide by 2 to find the number of flowers in 1 bouquet. Write in your book, what is daisies, what is tulips, on your guided practice sheet. Now let's find the number of tulips in 3 bouquets. In 3 bouquets, there are 3 times as many flowers as there are in 1 bouquet. So multiply the terms of the ratio by 12, 6 by 3. And then write in your journal, on your guided practice sheet, there are blank daisies and blank tulips in 3 bouquets. Now here's a guided practice for you to do. Pause the video and go ahead and work it out. Let's review. In this lesson, you have learned how to express equivalent ratios by using division and make a ratio table. There is no whisk tonight. Bring to class your worksheet completed. Put in the comment section of the video telling me where and when you watched the video. See you tomorrow.